a touching tale of a devoted husband and a loving mother, both anxiously awaiting news from their daughter who has traveled for medical treatment. Through rain, worry, and misunderstandings, their bond and hope remain strong. She woke at dawn, the low patter of rain tapping on the tin roof a gentle reminder of the world outside. The examination had just concluded, the doctors still reviewing the results. She lay still a moment, longing only to be home. Beside him, the husband and their little one. He, a dedicated soul, had taken to early mornings, herding chickens before heading to work, rain or shine. Their child, wide-eyed and curious, watched from the porch, bundled in a small raincoat, calling to him, "Dad, be careful." The husband paused at the doorway, phone pressed to his ear, concern softening his features. His voice trembled as he spoke to her. "We'll have to wait a day or two for results. Please take care of her." He glanced at the child and the caretaking mother, stepmother he realized, standing beside him. "Let's go home," he whispered, turning into the weather. Inside, the stepmother fussed over the child, making sure she stayed out of the inclement morning. She called after him gently, "Don't stay away too long, honey. It's pouring." She shot him a look, a mixture of hope and encouragement, before tending to her daily chores. Plants to water, chores to finish. The child, as always, followed every word with childlike sincerity, repeating, "Dad, be safe." As she prepared for work, she overheard the stepmother's hushed conversations with neighbors, whispers, anxious glances, rumors about her and the child. They spoke of a foster mother, of abandonment, of secret meetings overseas. Pain flared in her chest. She trudged out the door, hood pulled low, heart heavy but not broken. The husband drove through sheets of rain to the hospital, his mind consumed by worry. Voices from home echoed in his ears. "He's gone abroad with another man. They're lovers. They don't care about you." Each accusation stabbed at his heart. "Just one call," his wife answered, her voice soft. "We're okay. We finished the examination. They say to wait a couple days." He exhaled relief. Holding the phone tight, he promised, "I'll take care of you. Love you both." Meanwhile, back home, the stepmother coaxed the child to play in the garden. Among the newly planted seeds, the child looked at the vegetables, curious. "What's this?" she asked. "It's a tomato," the stepmother answered. "We'll harvest it soon." They drew closer, hands in the soil, hearts planted with hope in those tiny seedlings. That night, the husband returned, somewhat early, muddy from rain and stress. He found the house quiet, lights low. The child ran to him, tugging his sleeve. The stepmother stood behind, offering a gentle smile. He bent down, ruffling the child's hair. "Here," he said, pulling his coat off. "Let's tend to the vegetables together tomorrow." He noticed how neatly the yard was kept, how the seeds were already sprouting. Inside, she watched from the window, heart clenched, guilt, relief, love all tangled together. Distance had kept them apart, but this small moment felt like home. The stepmother, catching her eye, nodded. "They're waiting for you," she said quietly, referring to the child and husband. She stepped back, giving her space. That night, Quiet settled over the house. The storm had passed, leaving behind a fresh scent in the air. As she lay in bed, half-dazed with medication and longing, she realized that despite the turmoil, rumors, distance, pain, home waited for her. Love, quiet sacrifices, and the promise that soon, perhaps tomorrow, they would stand together again. The next morning broke gently with light pouring through the curtains. She stirred, still weak from the hospital's tests, but determined. With the doctor's words echoing, "We must wait for results," she held on to hope, her fingers lightly brushing the child's hair as the little one slept soundly beside her. At home, the husband was up early again, wiping down the motorbike, packing a small basket of fresh vegetables from the garden. His plan was simple: deliver them to the stepmother to thank her for watching the child, and check if there was any word from the hospital. The rain had eased, but the sky still held heavy clouds. He paused before heading out, heart quietly praying for good news. When he arrived, the stepmother greeted him with warm tea. "She called last night," she said. "They're fine, just tired." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've done all you can. Now you wait." Meanwhile, in the old house tucked at the edge of the village, she rose slowly, her bones aching but spirit firm. The uncle, who had accompanied her to the city, was already boiling porridge. "Eat, child," he said gently. "You'll need strength if the results are good." She nodded, quietly watching the pot steam. Her thoughts drifted back to their home, the farm, the garden, the husband's quiet kindness. A small part of her hoped she'd be welcomed back, not just out of duty but love. Back in the village, the stepmother was in the garden with the child, who eagerly poked fingers into soft soil. "Will Mom come home when the tomatoes grow?" she asked. The stepmother smiled gently, brushing dirt from the child's cheek. "Yes," she whispered. "Maybe sooner." Later that day, the husband stood at the police station, his workplace, signing off on reports. His colleagues asked about the situation, about whether she'd return. He only replied with a tight smile, "We'll see. First, she has to get better." As dusk approached, his phone finally buzzed. A call. Her name on the screen. He stepped outside, heart racing. "Hello." Her voice was soft, careful. "We're still waiting, but they're hopeful. Maybe there's a chance." His chest tightened. "I'm glad. I miss you. We all do." "I miss you too," she replied. "Even the chickens." He laughed through his nose, a sound of release. "Come back when you're ready. The tomatoes are growing, you know. The child talks about you every day." Silence for a moment, then she said, "Tell her. Mommy will be home soon." The night fell, quiet and full of longing, but also full of quiet plans, of return, of forgiveness, of tending gardens and love growing back through seasons of hardship. The stepmother looked out the window, watching the stars blink into place, and whispered to herself, "They'll be okay." And far away, in a strange city's hospital room, she lay with hope blooming in her chest, finally believing the same. The days passed in a steady rhythm. At the hospital, she underwent more evaluations. The uncle never left her side, always making sure meals were on time, and that the child never felt too far from home. The child, with her curious eyes and endless questions, filled the sterile white room with bursts of laughter that softened the weight of waiting. Back in the village, the husband returned to work at the station. Every afternoon, he would bring fresh food to the stepmother's house, often lingering to help her water the garden or fix a leaky faucet. Though he rarely spoke of it, everyone around him could see. His heart remained with her. One day, as he was arranging case files, the policeman, his superior, pulled him aside. "You seem distracted lately." The husband nodded, not hiding the truth. "My wife's in the city. She's sick." The policeman, a gruff but understanding man, clapped him on the back. "Take time if you need. Families are everything." Meanwhile, at the hospital, progress was slow but promising. One of the specialists explained that while her condition was congenital, new treatments had shown success. "We'll try a new therapy," he said. "It might take weeks, but there's a real chance." Her heart swelled, not just with hope, but with gratitude. She thought of the husband, of how gently he had cared for her before the separation, and how selfless he had been even when they were apart. That night, she picked up the phone. "Hi," she said. He was outside feeding chickens, phone tucked between shoulder and ear. His breath caught at the sound of her voice. "Hi, are you okay? I wanted you to hear me," she said. Clearly. He froze. The voice, once lost to silence, now floated softly in his ear. It wasn't perfect, still hesitant, still quiet, but it was hers. "You're speaking." "Yes," she said. "Just a few words. But more than yesterday." He didn't know whether to cry or laugh. So he said the only thing that made sense. "Come home." "Soon," she whispered. "Soon." And so, each side of the story carried on. The village prepared gently for her return, quietly, lovingly. The uncle made sure she was safe. The child, now learning letters from a borrowed book, would point to pictures and say, "Mommy will read this to me." Hope, once fragile, now began to bloom. The next morning came with heavy rain and strong winds. The husband buttoned up his jacket, preparing for another long day at work. He knelt down beside the child, who was still in her pajamas. "Dad's going to work now, okay? Stay at home and be good with Grandma," he said gently. The child nodded, clutching a small toy. "Be careful, Dad. Come home early." "I will," he promised. "Don't go out in the rain, you'll get sick." Grandma stood nearby, wrapping a scarf around her head. "Don't worry. I'll take care of him. You just go and focus on work." The door shut behind him and the wind howled. Inside, the child looked longingly at the door. "It's summer vacation, but it's raining. If it was sunny, we could go out and sell candy like last time." "Another day," Grandma said with a smile. "Let's stay inside today." But at home, the tension brewed like the storm outside. The stepmother paced restlessly, muttering to herself. He took her abroad. She left with another man. And he just sits at home waiting? Foolish. The grandmother from the wife's side had heard this gossip too. She frowned as she stood at the doorway, wiping her hands on her apron. They said it's just for medical treatment. That man is her adopted brother. Adopted? Now she suddenly has an adopted brother. The stepmother scoffed. She's lying. That same morning, the grandmother walked through the mud and puddles to the station. She found the husband sitting behind his desk. "Are you really letting her go like that?" she demanded. "Mom," he sighed, standing up. "I came here to ask you clearly. Do you still love my daughter?" He looked her in the eyes. "More than anything." "Then why did your mother come down and say you and her broke up?" "I never said that. I never told her to come. I've been trying to call my wife since yesterday. And no answer. I'm worried." The grandmother softened, then explained to me. "Did you really agree to separate?" "Never," he said firmly. "I think my mother is just angry. She wants to break us apart." The grandmother sighed, brushing rain from her sleeve. "Please take care of my daughter. She's already sick. Don't make her heart suffer too." He nodded. "I promise." Later that day, under the shelter of the station's porch, the husband tried once more to call. Finally she answered. "Hello." Her voice came through, soft, tired, but present. "Wife, are you okay? We just finished the examination. No results yet. Take care of yourself. And the baby." "I will. Uncle is taking good care of us. When you get the results, call me immediately. Mom and I are worried." "I will." From the corner, the grandmother leaned in. "Tell her I said hello. And that I miss her." "She hears you," the husband said, smiling. That afternoon the sky cleared a little, but the wind still carried a chill. At home the child sat alone at the doorway, her small eyes watching the road. "Where's Dad?" "He said he'd come home early," she murmured. Moments later the gate creaked open. The husband stepped in, his shoulders wet from the drizzle. "Dad's home!" The child ran to him. He bent down to hug her. "Were you good? Did you go anywhere?" "No. I stayed with Grandma." "Good girl. Now come help Dad plant vegetables." Together, they walked to the back of the house where a small garden plot had already been cleaned. Grandma followed, carrying a small bag of seeds. "Plant here?" he asked. "Yes," she said, pointing to the bed. "It's already been weeded." The husband showed his daughter how to dig a shallow trench and sprinkle seeds. "Do it gently like this." "Dad, is it better here or living with stepdad?" the child asked suddenly. He paused. "Here. You get to plant vegetables with Dad. Stepdad makes me do chores," she said seriously. Grandma chuckled, handing more seeds to them. "Let's plant a few rows of corn too. Later we can grill them." As they planted, the husband brought up the hospital visit again. "Mom, I called her. They finished the examination, but still waiting for results." "It hasn't been long. Why are you so eager?" Grandma asked. "I just want her to get better. The doctors there are good. Maybe they can help. She's had that condition since she was a baby. It's congenital. But they've cured others. he insisted. We have to try. I just hope you're not being tricked. That adoptive brother. How can we be sure? Mom, he said, sighing. I trust her. From behind, the child's voice piped up. I hope Mom gets better too. I've never heard her talk. The husband smiled gently. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. As the sun started to set, the garden beds were filled with rows of tiny green. The child clapped her hands as the first drops of evening dew settled. Inside, Grandma prepared a simple dinner. The husband washed up, his mind still with his wife. I'll wait, he whispered to himself, looking at the quiet sky. No matter how long it takes. A few days later, under a soft morning light, the husband stood outside the house, phone pressed tightly to his ear. The call connected. Hello? Came a familiar voice, her adoptive brother. Is everything okay? How's the result? There was a brief pause before the response came. She's going to need a minor surgery, but the prognosis is good. There's a high chance she'll regain her ability to speak. The husband felt his knees weaken from relief. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking care of her. She asked me to tell you. She misses you every day. His eyes brimmed with tears. I miss her too. Please tell her. No matter what happens, I'm waiting for her to come home. When he hung up, the child stood behind him. Was that about Mom? He knelt and hugged her. Yes, your mom's going to be okay. The child's eyes sparkled. Will she be able to talk to me? Yes, sweetheart. She will. That evening, while the husband prepared dinner, Grandma watched quietly from the corner. I'm glad she's getting better, she finally said. The husband turned to her. I'm sorry for doubting her, for doubting everything. We all just wanted what was best, Grandma replied. But maybe we should have listened to our hearts sooner. Later that night, the house glowed warmly. The garden outside rested under moonlight, waiting just like them, for a voice that had long been silent to finally come home.